Also in the programme, Aaron looks at the huge global problem, Aaron, of food waste.
Absolutely. Lucy, it's a series we're running all this weekend. Yes, it is an enormous issue. A third of all the food the globe produces a year, it's out. It gets wasted. That's 1.3 billion tonnes a year at a cost of $750 billion a year. So today's report looks at how some farmers are trying to tackle this awful, shameful problem.
The World Cup has been full of exciting moments. Get them. But for now, let's join Aaron for all the business news. And Aaron, the food that's wasted across the world, it's incredible, isn't it?
Unbelievable. We've got a special series all this week, obviously kicking off today. But some of the numbers, Lucy, absolutely staggering. Let me explain. Good to see you. Hello there. Yes, in a new report, the United Nations has, well, certainly called for more effort by governments to reduce the huge quantity of food that is wasted every single day around the world. And I should say, not just in the rich nations, but also in the developing world. Let me show you some of these numbers. Almost one third of food produced for human consumption worldwide is either lost or wasted. That is an absolute staggering, this number, 1.3 billion tonnes of food per year. Overall, all that food wasted, what does it cost us? It costs us this, $750 billion a year, each and every year. And that could easily feed all of the world's 1 billion starving people. Now, as I mentioned to Lucy all this week, we're looking at the problem where in its journey from farm to fork, food gets wasted, and what's being done to tackle the problem. Well, today, we're down on the farm in America. Yes, close to half of all the food in the US goes uneaten. And it starts in the fields where fruit and veg can be thrown away. They can be discarded simply because it's an odd shape. Fleury went to visit one farmer who's found a creative way to deal with this issue.
In Orange County, New York, the black soil is particularly well suited for growing onions, but not all of them will make it out of the field.
Food waste is a big issue. 40% of all American food goes uneaten, and it's a problem that starts long before you get to the dining room table. Here at Pawelski Farms, this onion is big enough to make it onto a supermarket shelf. This one isn't, even though it's perfectly edible.
Chris Pawelski's family has been farming this land for 4 generations.
It has to make the 2-inch minimum standard, 2-inch in diameter for USDA #1 standards. If it doesn't make the 2-inch minimum, it's deemed a dropout or undersize or a pickle onion.
So then what happens if it's too small?
Basically you have to look for secondary markets. And at times, if it's a drought year, you have a glut of undersized onions, and you have a very hard time moving them. Sometimes people in the past have dumped them actually locally.
A lot of local produce ends up in the city at the farmers' market in Union Square. It allows growers to sell food that might otherwise end up in a landfill.
So that means we're going to go out there, engage the farmers, and try to get as much salvageable food as we can.
Here, anything unsold gets picked up by an organisation called City Harvest. Within 24 hours, the donated produce is distributed to food pantries and soup kitchens across New York. And with homeless shelters busier than ever, the need has never been greater.
We've rescued over 46 million pounds of food, 60% of which is produce. 700,000 pounds of that produce was rescued from markets like this, and another over 4 million pounds was rescued directly from farmers in our local area.
Farmer Chris Pawelski is only too happy for City Harvest to take onions that are too small off his hands.
I want it to be consumed. I'd like to be paid for it, if possible, but at the very least, I don't want to see it go to a dump.
Making sure fewer people go to bed hungry is helping to reduce waste here in the land of plenty. Fleury, BBC News, New York.
Okay, again, we're going to have more on that series all this week. Let me just touch on some of the other business stories making headlines, all around the world.